This is Launching Your Daughter podcast, and I'm your host, Nicole Burgess, licensed marriage and family therapist. The information shared in this podcast is not a substitute for seeking help from a licensed mental health professional. Now, here is today's episode. Episode 60. Well, welcome everybody. Today I'm going to talk about why it's so important to invest in yourself as a parent or an adult, and why it can be important to invest in your daughter. And what I mean by this is whether you use psychotherapy services, mental health services, or you use coaching services like a life coach or a parent coach. I have heard over the years how people will say, oh, but psychotherapy or mental health services can be really expensive, especially if insurance doesn't cover it or you don't have good insurance, you have a high deductible. And part of what I try and encourage people, if you are really struggling in a certain area or with a mental health illness, you can't get out of bed, your child is not able to focus very well at school, anything where you're really feeling stuck and you need some help, investing in yourself is important because you're not just investing in your mental health piece, you're investing in your life, both mind, body, and your spirit, right? So if you go to your doctor, I'm sure your doctor tells you, hey, here's your blood pressure, here's your cholesterol level, here's what you can do to improve those things. That's investing in your body. That's one level of investing, right? If you then exercise and you work out, whether you're doing yoga, lifting weights, things like that, that's investing in your body. A health coach can help with, really keeping those goals in place. A physical trainer can help with those goals as well. All of that is investing in one aspect of your life. What I want to talk about today is investing more so in the mind piece of it, how that also impacts the body, and it also impacts the spiritual piece of it. Also, when you invest in yourself now, you're going to impact your future. Maybe you don't make huge, major changes, whether it's in psychotherapy or coaching, or maybe you do. Whatever those small steps or big steps are in those services, you're going to automatically impact your future, right? So if you're stuck now, getting unstuck, getting more clarity of where you want to go, what you want to do, looking at your values, looking at your belief systems is going to impact your future. The more you don't do anything, the more you stay right where you are. So what the guests that I've had on this podcast over the last year have been both coaches and or therapists. And the therapist can be either licensed marriage and family therapists, social workers, professional counselors. Some of them have also or are also coaches, whether that's a parenting coach, a life coach, a business coach, that sort of thing. I'll go back in a little bit and talk about the difference between coaching services and mental health services or psychotherapy services. But I want to stay with why it's important to either invest in yourself as the adult, the parent, the caregiver, or investing in your adolescent daughter. For example, let's say if we just talk about kind of car maintenance. You invested in a car. You want to make sure that car continues to run well. And so you do oil changes, you have the tires rotated, maybe you need to change the wipers on the car. In order for that car to keep running smoothly and to get you from point A to point B, you have to invest money into it to maintain it. And I'm not saying our life is exactly like a car, but in a way it is. In order for us as human beings to continue to run well, we need support at different times. Sometimes we may need the mental health services, psychotherapy services due to a trauma. Maybe it's been sexual abuse, as I've talked about in different episodes with other clinicians. Maybe there's been physical abuse, emotional abuse that's happened in you when you were growing up, or maybe it's currently going on in the family. It's like, I don't want this to continue anymore. Maybe it's depression has gotten to this place where you or your daughter is really just struggling to get out of bed. You're having a hard time functioning in your daily life. That's where therapy would be really beneficial to help you get back on track, get the support that you need. Maybe the therapist needs to refer you to primary care physician to get some blood work done, for ruling out any other medical issues that are going on. Maybe they just need to help give you some skills to really work with depression, anxiety, attention deficit issues. All of that is mental health services. A coach can be both a therapist and a coach, but they can't do both of those types of services with the same person. So if you're seeing a therapist who also does some life coaching or parenting coach, they would need to refer you out to somebody else who would do those specific services, and vice versa. I think no matter where we are in our life, there does come a point in time where we all need some sort of additional support. Again, whether that's mental health services or coaching services. The reason why I say that is there may be certain behaviors or belief systems that really worked for you up into a certain age, right? And then those beliefs or behaviors stop working. They no longer work. They're not getting you to where you want to be in your life. You feel really stuck where you are. You're not sure where to go. So that's why having that support system is really important to get you past that stuckness, to get you to where you want to go, to have somebody to hold you accountable for where you want to go in life. The reason why I also think it's important to invest in your daughter, or as I've talked in past episodes, whether with a guest or just as a solo episode, if your daughter is really struggling with maybe it's social skills, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's some depression issues or attention issues, getting her into some sort of, whether it's therapy and or coaching, can help her for her future. If she stays stuck where she is, those behaviors and that mindset can get a little more ingrained in where it is. And so being able to give her some resources to get her unstuck out of that and to be able to kind of challenge maybe some of those old thoughts, like I said in one of the episodes about ants, right? You're trying to really get that negative thinking and switch it around to like, okay, where are the facts to back it up? Where's my evidence to back it up? And sometimes, again, as parents, as much as you're trying to do this with her, maybe you've said these things over and over, or caregivers, you've done the same thing. Hey, I've given her all these skills and she totally ignores me. That's where having an outside professional can really help with that as well, because it really reinforces what you, the parent and caregiver, have said, but she also hears it from somebody totally different. So when I say invest in yourself and or your daughter, it doesn't mean you need to do these services for years on end. So let me go into a little bit about the differences between coaching and therapy. So as I said earlier, for mental health services, or psychotherapy is what I'm going to call it, you are really dealing more so with kind of past issues. You're truly dealing with mental health issues. Maybe you need to get diagnosed, or your daughter needs to be diagnosed because she's having some learning disabilities or some learning struggles there at school, and having a psychological evaluation will really help her get the support that she needs through either special resources there at school or having a modified homework plan. That's what psychotherapy can do. And then psychotherapy can also help her with skill building of what she can do to kind of support herself, and whether it's organization, or the therapist can talk with the school staff when you've got a release of information. All of that is helping your daughter succeed where she is, whether she's in middle school, high school, and getting ready to transition out of the home. Same thing for you adults. If you are really struggling with, again, if there's a family history of depression or anxiety or even a more severe mental illness, psychotherapy can help you get the support that you need to feel more encouraged, stabilized, and having some goals in place, therapy goals in place to get you where you want to be in your life. If you're currently working with a coach, whether it's a life coach, a parenting coach, a health coach, they cannot do psychotherapy or counseling with you regarding that. They cannot do diagnosis. They can't treat mental health disorders or anything like that. That would be a separate service to do that. With a parenting coach, they specialize in working with parents, and maybe it's with kids of all different ages. So everybody kind of has their own little niche that they work in, and a parenting coach specifically works with parents who are really trying to improve their parenting skills. Maybe it's communication skills. It's how to modify, just kind of the behaviors in the home, that sort of stuff. It's not about mental health services. A life coach can work on whether it's parenting or your own personal goals of where you want to be in your life. You can also work on professional or business goals as well with a life coach, or you can work on, your relationship skills, your communication skills with the life coach. You can also get really specific if you are wanting, let's say you're an entrepreneur and what you're really wanting is just business coaching. There's a specialty for that too. If you want to work truly on having better nutrition habits or awareness or exercise habits, you can work with a health coach that could do that. I hope this is making sense, the difference between psychotherapy and coaching, and that a lot of professionals that you can choose from. Again, I've had parenting coaches on, some life coaches on, and the majority of them have also been mental health professionals. The biggest difference with that is for the mental health professionals, we've all had to go through whatever state we're from. We've all had to go through rigorous supervision and testing and gaining license hours and supervision under those licensure hours in order to become a licensed professional, whether it's a mental health, marriage and family therapist, professional counselor, social worker, etc. With a life coach, there's not really a regulating body with that. There is certification programs that you can go through. That I just want to kind of draw your attention to the distinction of that somebody who has done a graduate program, whether it's a psychology degree or a master's level degree, they have a ton of training behind those skills, and then along with being a coach. And it's not uncommon for psychotherapists to sometimes either have coaching services and or later change over to just coaching services. So I just want to inform you of that as well. If you're at a place in your life where you're like, okay, again, my daughter's getting ready to launch, I'm feeling kind of lost, I'm not sure what I want to do next going forward. And I know this is really common for women. They've kind of lost themselves within being a mom and kind of forgotten about what their dreams are. And I know I've talked to in a different episode, we talked about caregivers trying to follow through with their dreams. And that's the same thing for parents too, that for women, especially that I have worked with, it's like, now where do I go? What do I do? That's where a life coach can help so that you can get clarity in the goals that you want to attain those aspirations that you have in life and not give up on them. You don't have to necessarily have a psychotherapist for this because you're not dealing with mental health disorders. You're just dealing with, hey, here's some goals I have in life and I'm not too sure how to get there. And a coach, again, will hold you accountable for that. It's about a collaboration. It's about you being motivated and taking charge of your life. That's really the big thing in coaching. You're looking towards your future, but you are fully taking responsibility for where you want to be and what you want to do. Again, if we go back to kind of maintaining our car, it's saying, hey, I want this car to run for years, not just months. So I've got to make sure there's actually enough oil in it. I've got to get the oil changed. I need to make sure the tire pressure is correct so that I don't blow out a tire. I need to pay attention to the tread on the tire so that when it gets low, that I, during rain or snow, that I have good traction. I have to maintain all of that through me taking responsibility for maintaining that vehicle. It's the same thing in our life, right? In coaching, again, it's more, you can have a specific one, whether it's for your health or your body, and then the mental and or spiritual piece of it. And in all of this, your mental health, whether again, it's a mental health disorder or mental health in the sense that you've got these goals that you don't want to give up on and you want to move forward in, all of that does impact your body. It impacts whether you feel like you've got energy or you don't have energy. And that's where coaching and or having psychotherapy can be really helpful, because when we have clarity in where we are in our life, where we want to go in our life. We have a better ability to take care of our bodies as well, which also then feeds into the spiritual piece of it, of saying what your spiritual practice, again, I'm not going with like what your religious belief system is. It's more of that spiritual piece of like what brings me that calm, whether it's walking in nature, it's the meditation piece that I've talked about in the past. All of it is interrelated. I guess that's really the bottom line. All of it is interrelated. I hope this gives you some clarity that it is so important. Again, you don't have to do therapy for years. You don't have to do coaching for years. But if you're feeling stuck or you've kind of got this blind spot, I guess, or what sometimes it's called the shadow in your life, in the sense like people are giving you feedback like, hey, this isn't working so much anymore. You may want to look into investing in yourself so that you can feel the best you can feel, type of thing, and be in the track that you want to be in, and or investing in your daughter if she's really struggling with some things. So part of what I've talked about in the last few episodes there towards the end is that I am actually offering life coaching services now. So again, I still do my online and my in-office psychotherapy practice. That hasn't changed. And I can do that here in Indiana, and I can do that in the state of California because I'm licensed there as well. With my coaching services, if you're interested in improving maybe it's communication with your daughter, or communication between you and your partner, your spouse, or you're a mom going, I'm feeling like I've kind of lost myself in this motherhood thing, go ahead and send me an email at nicole@launchingyourdaughter.com. I'm really excited about offering these services. The life coaching services is more about the future oriented of what you want and us working together collaborative. So I'm just excited about being able to offer these services to folks all over the world and being able to empower men and women everywhere and having them also role model that to their daughters. So thank you again for listening. I hope this episode has been helpful, and I would encourage you to really look around where you are located, whether it's for the mental health services or different coaching services that might be just right around the corner from you, and invest in yourself and or your daughter to make your life truly what you want it to be. Thanks again. Thank you for listening to Launching Your Daughter with Nicole Burgess, licensed marriage and family therapist. For more information or to stay up to date, go to launchingyourdaughter.com. You can sign up for my email list or join my Facebook group. Thank you.